Hello! In this video I'm going to ask you what you'd immediately think of if I said the letters DJI to you. I suppose you'd think of drones, cameras or even microphones. But what if I told you DJI had entered the market of power stations with this, the Power 1000? Let's have a look around it. So if you've seen one of my review videos before, you'll know that we'll give it a quick overview in the van. We'll then take it into the garage for a more detailed look at it, and we'll also have some overlay footage of it being used in and around the house and away when we're on camping trips. Also later on in the video we're going to look at some of the accessories that you can get for the Power 1000 to enhance it from its standard form. So what exactly is the unit in its standard form? Well, it's a 1024 watt hour power station. It comes with a power cord to charge from the AC and an instruction manual, and that's it. You need to think of this unit sort of like old hi-fi separates, if you remember them from back in the day, where you had your main amplifier and then you added a turntable, or you added a tape deck, or you added a graphic, etc, etc. This can be expanded to whatever you need it to be. You can add as little or as much as you like to the unit, really. There are no funny gimmicks with this one like you do get with a lot of power stations. There's no flashing lights, there's no little bullet connectors that nobody uses. So what you get is your 1024 watt hour power station with your AC outputs, your USB outputs, and what they call smart DC outputs. So the smart DC ports are compatible with all the DJI drones and the chargers, and they allow fast charging through these outputs. These outputs also serve for accessory inputs and expansion battery outputs, and we'll touch on that later in the video. The unit weighs in at 13 kilograms. It's around 45 centimeters long, around 22 centimeters wide, and around 23 centimeters tall. Let's get it into the garage for a closer look. Right, so we've got the Power 1000 in the garage now on the bench, and I'm going to show it you in a bit more detail. So left hand side we've got two UK 230 volt sockets on the AC, and in the centre your main display screen. Press and hold the on off button at the top there and the display comes on. It shows you the remaining battery life and also input for charging and output for usage. To the left there, the orange USB sockets are USB-A producing 24 watts, and to the right we've got two 140 watt USB-Cs. Now that is a staggeringly high USB-C. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in any power bank that I've had before, and that would be really handy for charging things like MacBooks and stuff that are really high draw. Now I don't have anything that pulls anywhere near that, unfortunately, so any overlay footage that I'm showing you would just be my normal cameras and microphones and stuff like that. Under this cover here is just your charging socket for your AC in, and you can manually control whether you want to charge that at 1200 watts for a fast charge or 600 watts for a slower charge. So moving over here, these are the smart DC ports that I told you about on the intro, and they are used to connect anything and everything to this unit, including expansion batteries and all of the other accessories that you can buy for it. The bottom one is classed as an SDC Lite, and what you do with that one, you can plug a dongle in there that will make the unit Bluetooth, and I'm going to show you that now. So here's your dongle, and this will plug into the bottom SDC port. They call this the SDC Lite port, and you do have to do a firmware update with this when you first get it, but it's very easy. The instructions are on the DJI website. Once the light goes green, that is now compatible with Bluetooth, and you just download an app on your phone and it allows you to change all the parameters for charging levels and charging speeds. Right, so for total transparency, I am filming this in all kinds of different orders during the day, depending on the weather, depending on what else I've got on. So sometimes this won't necessarily follow on from where it is. Example being now, I am filming this part, which is going to be at the beginning of the video, but I've already filmed some of the solar charging, which is going to be later on in the video. Right, so moving on to the right hand side of the unit, you can see there is a fan outlet and two bolt holes. They are for mounting an accessory solar charger. Right, so moving on to the other side, you've got another fan outlet. All the specifications, including the CE mark just for European legislation. There is nothing on the rear of the unit, just the DJI badge, and on the bottom of the unit is just the rubber feet. The top of the unit does not have any phone charging capabilities at all. It's just got a DJI embossed onto it. It's a flat level surface, and there are two carry handles on the side. And as I mentioned earlier, it only weighs 13 kilograms. So let's just tell you a little bit more about the inverter on this. It's got obviously a 230 volt UK inverter on it, producing 2200 watts stable. So what that means is from start to finish, from 100% down to 0, it will produce 2200 watts should you need that. However, just because you've got the capability, don't forget 2200 watts off a 1024 watt hour battery wouldn't even give you half an hour run time. So just because you've got it, it doesn't mean you're going to use it all the time, but it's nice to know that if you needed it for running something that was super high draw, like a microwave or a heater or an air fryer or something, it will power that. And as a little comparison, and I think I'm allowed to say this because obviously I've purchased with my own money an EcoFlow Delta 2. The inverter on that is only 1800 watts, so for the same size battery you're getting an extra 400 watts on the inverter. This inverter will peak at 4400 watts for initial startup, and it will run at 2600 watts for 60 seconds. So as I mentioned on the intro, there are no DC charging capabilities on this as standard. You do have to buy that as an add-on. You can purchase all different kinds of DC charging for this, be it straightforward alternator chargers at 1000 watts. The one that I'm going to show you, which is a dual solar and alternator charger, or you can just buy a solar charger or indeed a cigarette lighter charger. So we're going to set this up now as if we're charging from an alternator and then from a solar panel as well. Right, so what we're going to focus on now is the DC charging. Now, as I've pointed out, everything connects in via the SDC sockets, and there are various types of chargers you can buy. This is sort of the best of both worlds. This is a solar and car charger, all in one, 1.8 kilowatt total, so you can have 600 watts coming in through the alternator and 1200 watts in through the solar. Or if you want to use it combined, you can actually put 1800 watts of solar in using this lead here. Right, so to the left is the main super fast charger itself, the wiring harness in the center, and then the conversion lead to the right hand side, which allows you to make it just completely solar compatible. Okay, first job is to fit the wiring harness. Now, I don't have time to fit this correctly in the van. Where I'm going to route it eventually, it will be completely hidden. So what I'm going to do for the sake of this video is simulate it using a set of batteries and a battery charger, and it'll all work out in the edit. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to simulate an alternator charge to the charge controller. Now this can take 600 watts in from an alternator. It's around 45 amps, I think. You get a wiring loom supplied. I've connected it to two 12 volt batteries. They are wired in parallel, so you still got 12 volts there. It's just increased the ampage. So basically, if you look at that and think of that as your batteries on your vehicle, and you look at the battery charger there and think of that as your alternator, I'm putting 180 amps into there at the moment through the charger, just to show you what's going to happen. We've got the supplied loom there, which is wired and fused, and if I plug the end of the lead into the charge controller, we should get a fair bit of wattage coming through. We'll just wait and see. It should kick in a minute. The light should go green. Yeah, there we go. So light has gone green. You can see that climbing now. I don't know if you can see that. It's throwing just over 600 watts in. I'm going to try and do a screen recording now with my phone. Right, so there you go. You can see from the screen grab there, we are getting over 600 watts in. And that is exactly the same as it would be doing from an alternator charge, as I said. The charger there is mimicking the alternator, and the batteries there are mimicking the batteries on the van. Right, so there you can see we are now charging on solar using the same power supply. As I've said, it is capable of doing dual charging. Unfortunately, I haven't got the leads long enough to be able to show you that at the same time. But from a 120 panel, it's an overcast day, the sun's in and out. We're doing pretty good, just over 100 watts there. And there you can see the panel itself, absorbing all the sunshine it can on a very early spring day. So you can see a change now. I've added the DJI Expansion Battery 2000 to the power station. And now we've got a total of 3,072 watt hours available. And if you wanted to purchase even more batteries, you can add up to 5 and take it up to 11,264 watt hours, which would give you an amazing home setup if you needed that kind of backup capability. Now, this unit will still charge exactly as it did before through the AC or through the solar. It just takes longer because it's obviously expanded the size. You link the two together with a battery, and you've got 2 SDC ports on this again to keep expanding or adding accessories. Always leaving your dongle in the main unit and continuing on daisy chaining from there. Right, so just to confirm, in case anybody asks me, you cannot charge these batteries on their own. They charge through the main unit itself. These are purely expansion batteries. There is no AC charger in them at all. And just to give you a rough idea on accessories, I have got the cigarette lighter output accessory there. Just plugs into the SDC port. You've then got your standard cigarette lighter there, which you can plug into and run things like compressors. So another nice little accessory for the unit is a carry case. And it's very, very well built. It's very strong. It's kind of like a hold-all. And the best thing about it is it's ventilated both sides and accessible at the front, so you can actually use it in the case. The only issue I've found with it is because it's new and still quite stiff, this was not staying up. So all I've done is just held it up with the handles. And then if I show you on the sides, you can see the vents there. What I've done is just poked the cover down there just to let the air flow. Right, so I think that concludes the walk round on the bench, so to speak. We'll take the unit now away in the van with us over the next few weeks, so you'll see a bit of montage footage from different days. I'll also show you some stuff in the house when we're using it, just to give you a rough idea on AC usage. Okay, so it's a week or so later since I filmed the main part of the video. We are away in the van on a campsite, which is basically a farmer's field. There are no facilities at all. There is no electrical hookup on the site. So this is where your power banks really come into their own. As you can see, this plug socket here is plugged into the van itself, supplying the van's hookup socket. So think of it like your hookup post on a campsite. I've isolated the van's battery charger so that we don't use any power unnecessarily, and we're going to air fry some chicken, and then after that we'll microwave some rice. So we've got it set for 20 minutes at the moment. This is a 1500 watt air fryer, so it will cane the usage on the power bank, but I think these cycle in and out, so we shouldn't use 1500 watts all the time. So if you can see that there, current output is 1370 watts. Obviously it's going to warm up and use a fair bit of power for a bit, and this will go down. This is what I was saying to you in the main part of the video. You've really got to find your appliances and use them wisely, but I will be able to recharge this as we're away, so I'm not worried even if I do use a lot. Okay, so we have used 20% so far, and we've done 11 minutes on the air fryer. What happens is it cycles in and out. Basically you'll see that this at the moment is on 1300 and something, but then it drops down like this because it's got up to temperature, and it cycles in and out. Okay, so we are down to 56%. We did have to put it on for a few more minutes. Okay, so the air fryer is now off and everything's cooked in there. We're now going to put the microwave on and do the rice. So what have we got? Microwave pulls 1250 watts. Okay, so we have done the rice, we have done the chicken, and we've used 49%. In a minute I'll show you the charging option that I've got with me this weekend. Okay, so we are now going to put a bit of charge back into this. Now, this isn't something that DJI supplied to me. I have bought this with my own money, but because I haven't got time to fit the charger that they supplied that I showed you earlier on in the video, I thought, well, it's only 45 quid. So I bought the cigarette lighter charger, but it also doubles up as a solar charger. You can actually plug a solar panel into this, albeit only 120 watt maximum, but that's okay because the panel they supplied will fit that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this on for a couple of hours just to show you what you'd get back if you were charging off a cigarette lighter. Now obviously you're only putting around 10 amps maximum into this, which is around 120 watts maximum. So you're not going to get a fast charge off this, but luckily this is going to be charging off my habitation batteries, which are lithium, and they're already fully charged, and they're not going to be taking any more charging. They will be dumping any solar that's generated, so I might as well make the use of the energy rather than it be wasted. Okay, so we've got the unit plugged in and it's only sending 60 watts into the power bank. I don't know whether the van is throttling it back a bit because obviously there's no charge coming in. I've no idea, but it's better than nothing at the minute. It does say this would put in up to 100 watts. I'll just put you a little graphic on now if I go into the app on my phone. I'll try it again later in the video. So it's a bit later in the evening now. And yeah, we're just going to use the kettle, make a cup of tea. You can see we've put a little bit of charge in using this. So you can see this kettle pulls around 600 watts. It's only a camping kettle. Right, so kettle is about to come to the boil. And we're down to 47%. Okay, so it's morning now. We're going to do another cup of tea. Right, so we are down to 36% now. We've obviously done air frying, microwaving and 2 kettles for that. We are currently only putting in 55 watts. But as I say, hopefully that will increase later. Right, little bit of add-in footage. I've now started the van, so the alternator is running and it's up to the voltage on the supply, so clearly increase the wattage. We're still only putting 85 watts in through this, but as I say, that is connected to the habitation battery. Right, so there you can see it does actually work on 100 watts. It is fluctuating up or down one, but we are on 100 there. I've got it connected to a solar panel at home because it was bugging me that in the van it was only showing anything from 50 to 70. But clearly that's a voltage issue on the van supply, and you can see that this is limited to 100, but it does actually work at 100, so I'm happy with that now. Okay, so one of the things I want to show you now is charging times. It states it will charge from completely empty to full in 70 minutes and up to 80% in 50 minutes. Now the unit itself is flat. I'm just going to start my stopwatch, click the AC on, and hopefully we should get roughly, there we go, so it's on 0. All right, we've lost 10 seconds, but I don't think it's going to make any difference. We'll periodically come back to the unit and see how it's getting on. I've got it set to the highest charge rate of 1200 watts at the minute. I'm assuming it's going to ramp up as it gets on a bit. One of the things DJI are keen to promote on this is the silence of it charging, and I can't really show you, I haven't got a decibel meter, but what I can tell you is I'm in a quiet room in the house. If I put the microphone right next to the fan, I don't know if you can hear anything. I mean, to be honest, the noise that you can hear is the boiler, and there's a clock. That's how quiet it is. Right, so while we're waiting for it to ramp up, hopefully to 1200 watts, gives me a chance to show you a bit more of the app. Now obviously at the minute you can see we're running 930 watts. You can go into that. There's a firmware update available. I'm not going to do that at the minute, especially while it's charging. Energy management. This basically lets you discharge to 0 and recharge to 100, but you can set the parameters so it doesn't ever go down to 0, and the same as it doesn't ever go up to 100. Although every 5 cycles it will do a full recharge automatically just to maintain performance. So there's a few parameters that you can change on it. Again, on this one I've got it so it doesn't time out. That's purely for recording purposes so that the screen doesn't go off. And then everything else that you've got connected, so if I had the solar charger connected, that would appear on the app as well, but at the minute, because I've only got the DJI Power connected, you can only see certain things. Right, so just as we hit 20% at about 11 minutes, it shot up to 1170 watts as we are now. So I was right in my guesstimate that when we got to around 20 it would ramp up a bit. As I say, they usually do start off a bit slower and end up a bit slower, but ultimately all we're looking for is 80% in 50 minutes and 100% in 70 minutes. We'll see how close we are to that later on in the video. Okay, we're 25 minutes in, just over 50%, and we're putting in 1183 watts. Just want to, again, now that we've got pretty much the maximum going in, try and tell you how quiet this is. All I can hear is the clock ticking. I'm going to get the microphone and put it right next to the fan. Now, obviously, it does depend how good this microphone is, but I'm telling you, it's so quiet, it's unbelievable. I don't quite know how we've got to 80% in 36 minutes. The official paperwork says 80% in 50 minutes, but what I'm filming doesn't lie to me, so no idea. On the app itself, we're mirroring that. It now says we're putting in 1195, 1201, 82% and 10 minutes remaining. Whether we'll see a difference soon, I don't know. It's already dropped down, hasn't it, live as you're watching this, from the 1200 to 900, so around the 80% mark again it starts slowing down, the same as it did when it got to 20. It ramped up, so between 20 and 80 we're putting in the full amount, and then it changes from here. I'm guessing because it's now slowed down, the time to fully charge will increase, but we'll see. All we can do is believe what the stopwatch is saying. Right, so when we got to around 92%, it dropped down again to 500 watts input. I did quickly run in from another room. I'm sort of monitoring this remotely through the app, so I'm not standing here for up to an hour waiting for this to finish. So I did actually miss that, but yeah, we're just on 96% now. The app is saying 4 minutes to go, which to me is way faster than it's suggesting. It did say, as I'm repeating myself, 80% in 50 minutes and fully charged in 70 minutes. It's looking to me like we're going to get fully charged in 50 minutes. Right, I've just moved the camera a little bit closer rather than do a screenshot so we can see everything in one, if you like. It's now suggesting 3 minutes left, 97%, and running for 48 minutes so far. Right, so one thing to note is when it said 3 minutes remaining, that was probably about 5 or 6 minutes ago. It does seem the closer you get towards the end of the charge, the time remaining becomes a bit more optimistic. It says 2 minutes there, but we're already still on 53 minutes. It still seems to be that it's going to be faster than the 70 suggested. It's certainly a lot faster than it's advertising, I think, unless this last minute takes 20 minutes. We should be done in 55, I'd have thought. There we go, it says 0 minutes left on there. You can see that, and on there, but yet we're still charging. Now I've got another power station that sits on 99 for ages and ages until it finally gets to 100. This could be exactly the same. This could just not be amazingly accurate, but as we say, the stopwatch is the one consistent in this video. That's been running since the second I turned it on, and it's still running now, so ignoring the app, we're going to go with this from now on. And just like that, we're full. I did miss it by about 15 seconds, but 56 minutes. I quickly had to turn the camera on and it's saying full, so there we go. Empty to full, 56 minutes. Okay, so what I want to show you now is the U.P.S mode. U.P.S standing for uninterrupted power supply. Now they state between 12 and 20 milliseconds of a seamless switchover. As you can see, I've got the unit plugged into the 240 and the television is being supplied by the unit. In theory, if I pull this out, we should get an uninterrupted power supply and the telly should continue. There we go. Perfect switch over. We're now running on the unit itself and the 240 supply is disconnected. So there we go then. That was the DJI Power 1000. If you've seen anything in the video that you fancy purchasing, I'll leave a link in the description below. And if I manage to get a discount code, I'll leave that there too. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up or a like. And if you want to ask me anything, leave a comment below. And I'll see you on the next review video. Bye bye.